what are the 3 tips that I want to give you for today, right? How do you master the fundamentals of coding? Before making any important, significant decision of your life, first ask yourself, why are you taking that decision? So guys, welcome to today's Saturday night session again. This is 11:01. We'll wait for a few more minutes for people to join in. In the meanwhile, introducing myself, this is Pramit, currently a software architect with Amazon, but before that, with Microsoft for 10 odd years, where I used to be with Azure, Visual Studio, Windows, and CRM teams. Currently with the FinTech team with Amazon. And I welcome you all to today's session. Hope we will learn something together. As customary, if any of you have joined our sessions in the past, guys, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat box by putting in your name as well as your place, the place that you're coming from. Awesome. Okay, guys. So folks are joining in, and we will wait for a couple of more minutes to give them some more time. In the meanwhile, let's all go ahead and introduce ourselves. Sankalp, good evening. Ayush, good evening. Ashwin, thank you. Good evening. Abhishek, welcome. Shankanil, good evening. Sankalp, good evening. Welcome. Awesome. So rest, if you want to introduce yourselves, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat box, just your name and where you're coming from. Rose, good evening. Welcome. Saurabh, good evening. Welcome. Ayush, awesome. Kaustubh, good evening. Welcome. Okay, so guys who are joining in now, we are just introducing ourselves right now. So feel free to go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat box. Just your name and where you're from. Ghanshyam, good evening. Welcome. Awesome. So it's 11:04. We'll begin exactly in a minute from now. Twinkle, good evening, welcome back. So today's session is on cloud, the basics of cloud, right? I consider it a very important topic because pretty much in any role that you go into any job, it is a very important thing to know, right? But unfortunately, our syllabus has not yet caught up, because of which what's happening is that our students are not well prepared for for the role when they actually go into any software related job, right? So that with that intent, we will cover the very basics. I will not try to confuse you. We will cover the very basics, and we will actually try to get a look and feel of the cloud as well. We will try to deploy a code also into cloud so that we will see it actually running in the cloud as a website. So this is what is the agenda for today. Awesome. Welcome Akarsh and welcome Akhil. Good evening. Okay, awesome. So with that, right, I think folks who are joining in now, we were just introducing ourselves in the chat box, just our names and where we are from. And I briefed about the agenda for today's discussion, right? So the objective is for you guys to understand the basics of cloud. So no shame at all for stopping me at any point of time, asking me any question that you might have, right? Feel free, absolutely feel free. Cool. But before we go into today's session, our last session was around something called a foliothon, which we are hosting and which again relates to a couple of sessions back that we had, where we wanted all Indian students to create a personal portfolio apart from the industry internship and course projects that they do. We are encouraging every Indian student to create a personal portfolio, right? And towards that, there are a few tips that we had shared. I have pasted the link for the YouTube video of our last session. It's a record, just a recording, not any pre-processed video or anything. But there we are considering the basic idea of what a foliothon is. And if you want to participate, we would love to help you for the first 6 months in executing your idea. Because what we realize is that students start with some projects, but they don't finish it. They drop it in the middle, right? So with that intent, we want to host an event called, it's not really an event, it's an ongoing process where we will at least guide you for six months so that you can at least take your personal project to a good milestone, right? And also if you need, then also help creating your own team. So that was our previous session. If you want to know more about it, feel free to go to the YouTube link and and know more about it. Okay, and also I have the link with me. If you give me a second, this is the link. I'm sharing this with you guys to register in that event. Even if you don't have a team, that's okay. Feel free to go ahead and register. We'll try to find more people because many people don't have teams, right? So we can club many people, and that way we can create a personal project and plan it out, track it out, and guide you for 6 months. After that, you guys can take it on your own. Okay, so that was about the last session and the MFL Foliothon. Encourage you to go and take a look at it. Awesome. So let's begin with today's session, right? So we want to understand the basics of cloud today. And before we go into cloud, we actually take a look at how the cloud solutions really look like, and how can we actually go and deploy our own website in the cloud, which we will do today. Let me begin with a very basic question. What is a data center? Please respond in the chat box. What is a data center? Anything that comes to your mind, or anything that you know. I'm sure many of you have a decent idea what that is. So let's, for the benefit of all of us, let's go ahead and write it in the chat box. What is a data center? And we'll keep this session interactive. So Akhil is saying data storage, server locations. Good. Anything else? Shankanil is saying a hub where you can store the information you want. Okay. Store some information, right? Previous was server locations. Kaustubh is saying a data center is secure facility that houses IT infrastructure such as networked computers and data storage. Very good answer, Kaustubh. Very close to the real answer, right? Saurav is saying building with computers. Good answer, that's true. Building with computers. But what do those computers do? Do something like data storage, like compute facilities, like networking, right? So we will talk a little bit about that. We'll not go into very much detail because that might confuse some of you, but we'll discuss the basics. Awesome. Thank you, Saurav. Satya Prakash is saying a digitally located space to store or retrieve data. Okay. Okay. So space from where you can store data. Sankalp is saying a place where every data is stored and traffic of data lake data takes place with networking and other ways. Okay. Okay. So we are getting some pointers that is some sort of IT infrastructure where some sort of storage where IT infrastructure is there, where computers are there and they are networked. You can also use those computers for storage and retrieving data. Okay, good data points. A place to store data, Abhishek. Okay, good. Shankanil is saying a storage space where you can store and access any data from anywhere in the world. Good, good. Okay, so I think we are, to summarize, right? I think this forum here has a decent idea what a data store is, right? So let's look at a data store, data center. This is what the internal view of a data center is, right? So we had a workshop some time back on cloud where we covered this in a lot more detail, but we'll not go into that detail today, obviously. But we'll understand a little bit basic of what a data center is, right? So this is what a data center looks like. And what are these? These are like racks. So individual, like fridge-like structure, right? They're called racks. Racks are nothing but shelves, right? Shelves are also called racks. So these are in cloud terminology called racks. And inside each racks, there are lots of computers, right? Just like our CPUs. So there are lots of computers, but different types of computers, right? Some computers are primarily very powerful processors like CPUs, right? And then there are other devices which are primarily for storage, like database oriented, right? You guys talked about compute, like CPUs or machines, right? Computers. Then you guys also talked about storing data. So for storing data, there are special machines which are focused towards storing data. Then they are networked, right? So if I show the backside of those racks, so this is what it looks like, right? There are a bunch of machines like CPUs, if you can see the screen, right? CPUs, and they are the yellow cords coming out are nothing but network wires. They are all connected. So there are a bunch of machines, different types of machines, and they're all connected, networked, right? So if I go to my board here, let's see. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen here. So let me try to explain this through some diagram, right? So let's say this is a rack. Inside a rack, there are a bunch of CPUs. Let's say there are compute machines, right? So typically in a rack, there will be a lot of CPUs. This is a compute rack. Okay, so these are nothing but very, very powerful CPUs. Much powerful with RAM sometimes going to hundreds of GBs, right? So they are all connected because we were seeing wires coming out of them, right? So where are those wires going? We will not discuss in detail in how networking works. In fact, we had a dedicated workshop on cloud networking also. But briefly, let's discuss that they will go into something called a router, right? And similarly, there are other racks. They might be connected. So there are lots of machines and they could be compute, like this one was compute, right? So similarly, the other, let's say, was a storage rack where a lot of disks, like in your computer, there are disks, right? It's hard disks. So similarly, a lot of storage disks are there in storage racks. So, but they also need to be connected to the main network. So they will be connected to some router. Similarly, just like any physical network, these routers are also connected between each other. Okay, another router. And similarly, let's say this is the whole building, the whole data center building or the floor, right? That again, there will be a main router which will be connected to the internet, which is outside world, right? So that also will be connected to another router. So this is a view of the large number of machines in the cloud. Now I'll stop here. I want you guys to ask as many questions as you want on what I just described. Any question that comes to your mind, feel free to ask. This is the basics of data center, right? Physically, this is how the arrangement of data center looks like. Okay, how secure is it? Harshvardhan is asking a good question. How secure is it? So Harshvardhan, so this is we talked about the network, internal network of the data center, right? So I just showed a router. So these are called edge devices, right? So there are a bunch of edge devices, which are basically interface between inside of the database and outside world. This is inside the database and this is outside world, right? So there are a bunch of devices called edge devices, like there are DNS servers, right? And there are a lot of other servers, but apart from that, there are security devices also, like firewalls are there, which will not allow any random traffic. Then there are devices called A1 devices or other devices for stopping DDoS attacks. So if you know a little bit about network security, denial of service is a very popular attack that happens, that hackers do, right? So there are devices to prohibit DDoS attacks. There are lots of devices on the edge. So all these devices, right, are called edge devices because they are on the edge of the cloud. And so there are a lot of such security devices as well. So this is a limited answer to your question, but then there is security at every layer, right? So there will be, let's say, a security also at the storage. Like anything that is stored here will be stored in an encrypted way. It will not be stored in a plain format, right? So encryption will happen. So there will be some sort of hardware encryptor. So security is present at every layer. I hope that makes sense, Harshvardhan, and I hope that answered your question to some extent. What is a router that is connected? Shankanil is asking me privately, so it may not be visible to all of you. He's asking, what is a router that is connected to more router fails? Very good question, Shankanil. So it's not like that there is a single point of failure, right? So this has redundancy built in. What that means is there are multiple routers actually. There are multiple instances of routers. So there is redundancy built in. As in, if this goes in, there is another alternative way through which it can go. So there is redundancy built in. But good question, right? Saurabh is asking another very good question. What in the case of power failure? Very good question. So let's take the example of one of the Azure data center where I had been to in Pune, right, in India. So in that data center, there are 3 government power connections that come. And there is a deal with the Maharashtra government that at no point of time, all the 3 power connections should go off. That's a deal. You cannot take off under any circumstances, all the 3. So there are 3 very high secure power connections. All of them not like the public power connections that we get. This is special power connection from given by government just for cloud, and 3 different power grids, so that even if one grid fails, the other grid will still be there. And even if the second fails, the third will also be there. Harshvardhan is asking, what if a fire accident? Very, very good questions, guys, coming up, right? What if there is a fire accident? Where uh, the if you go inside a data center, it's very, very cold. In fact, a lot of cost is actually bore on just keeping the data center very cool, right? Because there are so many machines running with so many high CPU. So if you don't cool the environment, right? In fact, if you look under the floor of data center, it's filled, the under the floor, right? It's filled with cooling devices. So it's so cold. And the security around data center is super high. Lots of policemen, because what if a riot breaks in, right? So very high security, very high precautions. You can't wear your footwear inside the data center. You can't go inside the data center as it is. You have to take special permission many days in advance. It's a very, very high security facility, right? So fire accident anyway could happen. Like there is no way to say that it won't happen. Like what if there is an earthquake, right? But typically there is a very high security. I hope it gives you some sense, right? Let's go to another question. Sankalpa is asking, which type of cat wires are used for interconnection? Cat wires. I don't know what a cat wire is, but basically very high quality wires are used. And I don't know what a cat wire is, Sankal. Excuse me. And how are the cooling solutions made? So cooling solutions are very dedicated solutions, so it's an enterprise level. Like I said, in the flooring there are uh, mm, like uh, bars and cooling. So a lot of cooling machines are there inside the data center, right? What does router do? Abhishek is asking, what does router do? So router, Abhishek, basically will route packets. Let's say you are accessing cloud. Today we will be accessing cloud, you will see. So when we access cloud, that our packet, whatever request we send, it will go inside the cloud, right? It will go inside some machine where our actual website will be hosted. So let's say our website is hosted in one of these machines. So when we send a packet, it will actually go. So router will route the packet. So it will go to this router, maybe this router, and eventually reach the packet. HTTP, we will make a HTTP call, right? Which will go from our browser. If you don't understand what HTTP is, doesn't matter. Then it will respond. When it responds, it will again come through that router and eventually the main router to our laptop. Okay. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Abhishek. Kaustubh is asking, what are the technologies to use? Technologies around what, Kaustubh? If you can maybe clarify your question a little bit. Yash is asking, any fire incident happen in data center yet? Not that I know of, Yash, but around a year back there was an earthquake. Actually, I think it was in some South American country, Puerto Rico or somewhere, right? There was an earthquake because of which a data center was actually severely damaged. So a lot of impact to solutions. Like if you host, like today we will host our website, right, in our data center. If that data center goes down because of, let's say, an atomic bomb, then obviously my website will go down, right? So big corporates, they don't host their websites or solution in one data center. They actually host it in multiple data centers. So even if one data center goes down because of fire accident, earthquake, atom bomb, the other one is still there to host, so that their solution doesn't go down. Right? Ashwin is asking. I hope that answers your question, Yash. If not, feel free to let me know. Ashwin, might I request everybody to kindly mute their mics? Ashwin is asking, data center computer have whole parts like our usual computers have? No, Ashwin. Good question. No, like these computers have only compute parts, like the RAM parts typically, right? Similarly, these computers have only disk parts, and they have some minimal RAM, obviously, minimal compute to go store and retrieve, but definitely not like your computer. Your CPU has everything: storage also, compute also, network also, right? Network card, maybe graphics also. So none of these will have any graphics, for example. So that's how it's slightly different from our computers. Good questions, guys, coming in. Keep them coming. I think this is good. We will go into solutions also, but it's always good to answer questions. We are not in a hurry to finish a syllabus, right? Okay, Sankalp is asking, I meant to ask the variety of Ethernet cable used for internet. So good question, Sankalp. So as much as I know, very high quality cables are used because they need to be fire resistant and all. But I don't know what like company or what exact variety name is. So excuse me for that. I don't know the exact specific company or anything. Ashwin is asking, what is Nexus Internet Hub? I have no clue what a Nexus Internet Hub, Ashwin, is. Uh, no idea. Maybe I can look up and tell you, but I don't know what a Nexus Internet Hub is. Satya Prakash is asking, are there any provisions for data backup? Is any important data lost due to some problem? Very good question. Very good question, Satya Prakash. So data is always backed up. Like if I host my website also, it's data, right? Whatever data could be code, data could be actual data like database. It is always replicated across multiple servers so that even if that machine crashes, your data is not lost, right? So there may be some latency, like in data replication, right? There may be some latency. Like when I store my data here, it may take a millisecond or a few milliseconds to replicate, right? But there may be some latency, but data is definitely replicated across multiple instances. I hope that answers your question. Sankalp is asking, what type of cables are used for interconnection of devices? So Sankalp, these are regular internet cables, the regular cables that we use, right? Which like for very high speed optical fibers are used, but for inside of the data centers, I don't know whether optical fibers are used or not. But regular our like the regular RJ45 adapter or the regular cables that we use, right? Just similar cables, but much more high quality. I hope that answers to some extent your question, Sankalp. Shankanil is asking privately, how do we know that data centers we store data is steal our data or not? No. So they cannot steal your data. That's an agreement between, when you create your account, it's an agreement. They cannot steal because they'll be criminally punishable if they steal your data, right? Ashwin is asking, sir, can you please repeat your answer for my question? I lost my connectivity. What does server has parts same of our computer? Okay. And about Nexus Internet Hub, Ashwin, what I was saying is Nexus Internet Hub, I don't know what that is, but our computer has all the elements like compute, CPU parts, right? Like RAM. We have disks, which are hard disks, right? To store data. We have graphics card, we have network card, network drivers, all of that, right? But in these machines, they don't need to have all of them. Compute is primarily around compute, only RAM, sort of, right? Only compute power, very high compute power. Storage is primarily focused around disks, right? So every machine will not have everything like our CPU. Okay, Abhishek is asking how to decide if client is asking for computing or storing. Very good question, Abhishek. We will go into that. We will, in fact, that is what we will discuss next. Akhil is asking what's their approximate percentage uptime. Percentage uptime is upwards of 99.999. Akhil, right? They are supposed to be always up. And you can actually, so sometimes they do go down, but the downtime is very, very low. And they publish, and there are a lot of websites publish uptime of AWS, Azure, GCP, whatever, right? Satyaprakash is asking, when a hacker breaks into a data center, they can't. The security is really high. Does it mean they break into the edge devices or breaking into any of? Right. So they first have to go through, anybody from outside have to go through edge devices. You are right, Satyaprakash. And the security is very high at the edge, so that a hacker who does not have access should not be able to go into it, because like billions of dollars of solutions or websites are hosted inside the data centers, right? Okay, thank you, Ashwin. Okay, so I think very good questions, and I loved all the questions that came in, because typically I don't see so many questions coming in. I am very happy that so many questions came in, right, around data center. In case of a hard drive failure in data center, what happens after that? Sankalp, if a hard drive failures, right, like I said, the data is always replicated across multiple instances, so that uh, so that uh, uh, your data will never be lost. Okay, I hope that answers your question to some extent. Now the question to you guys, before we go into what types of solutions, what are the names of it data center similar to server, Abhishek? No, data center contains lots and lots, hundreds of servers. Data center contains lots of those racks. Each rack contains like 20 odd servers. So data center contains hundreds or thousands of servers. Okay. So quick question. Who are some prominent cloud providers? Can we put in some names of cloud providers in the chat box, please? GoDaddy, okay. Cloud solution, it's not a cloud provider. Cisco, okay. Cisco, I don't know. I don't think they have a cloud provider. AWS, Shankanil is saying good. AWS, Harshvardhan is also saying good. Sankalp is giving very good answer. Google, which is Google Cloud platform, GCP. Amazon has AWS, Microsoft has Azure, very good. Akhil is saying AWS, GCP, Azure, awesome. Abhishek Singh is AWS, Google, awesome. Sharon, welcome back. You're late today. AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, awesome. Shankanil is saying Big Rock. Big Rock. I don't know. Maybe there is, but I don't know. Ashwin is saying Amazon. Satyaprakash is saying Adobe. So Adobe hosts cloud solutions. Like pretty much all these companies now host cloud solutions typically in form of SaaS, SaaS, software as a solution. There are three categories of solutions, right? IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. IaaS stands for, thank you, Ghanshyam and Shankani. So IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. PaaS stands for platform as a service. SaaS stands for software as a service. So there are three categories of service that are typically available in cloud, but we will not be going into the because I was not sharing my slide, so let me share that back on so that you guys can see. 1 second. Okay, guys, awesome. So we will not go into details of IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, right? Because today's session is short. We will not go into that because that will confuse you guys, right? But we will go into some other categorization of cloud solutions, right? Like somebody was asking, right? What is a compute and what is a storage? How can I choose, right? So there is a different category of solution. So in fact, in that spirit, like let's go to Azure. So see, I have logged into, if you can see the screen, this is what Azure looks like. And all of you can go and create a free account in Azure. And we also have with us AWS. This is what AWS looks like, right? And this is what Google Cloud Platform looks like. This is what Google Cloud Platform looks like. So you can go and create free accounts, absolutely free in all of them. And you will get some, like in Azure, you will get, I think 30,000 or so credits. In AWS also, you'll get like fairly good amount of credits. Also in Google, you'll get fairly good amount of credits to use for free, right? For the first year at least. Okay, so it's awesome. You just have to give details of your credit card, but they will not charge unless you explicitly ask them to charge. They will never charge your credit card, right? So feel free to go and create accounts. Abhishek is asking what is meant by a cloud solution. We will discuss that. We are discussing that only, Abhishek. You will understand in a second. Okay, let's say this is what cloud looks like. My Azure account looks like, right? So let's go and create a resource. So what we will see are the different types of resources that we talked about, right? I talked about compute. I talked about storage. I talked about networking, right? So there are different types of resources. So in fact, before we go there, let me take a minute to actually go to the whiteboard again and talk a little bit about cloud solution. That will also maybe give a better answer to Abhishek also. Okay. So what can you do as a student in cloud, right? You can, just like you have your laptop, right? You can create a virtual machine, right? You can create, just like your laptop, basically you can create your virtual laptop in cloud, and you can access it and you can run any process on it, just like you're running in your actual laptop. And you can give any configuration, hey, create 8 GB RAM, right? And okay, let's attach a disk also, create a 1 TB disk, okay, hard disk that is. And network may create 3 network adapters, like your computer has that network cable, right? 3 network adapters, right? And why just one virtual machine, right? Let me create 5 virtual machines, and these 3 machines connect to one network, right? So they will internally create something called a virtual switch, and 2 other virtual machines that I create, you connect to another network. So just like in your home network, right? If you connect to your home Wi-Fi router, you are connecting, your brother is connecting, your dad is connecting. So all 3 are connected to your home network, right? Similarly, your neighbor is connected to his home network. Similarly, you can virtually create all these virtual networks. So this is a networking solution called virtual network. So this is not a real network. And these machines are not real machines. These are called virtual machines, right? Each one of them is a virtual machine. And this network that you have created is a virtual network. Only you can see. Nobody else in the world can see this network, right? Similarly, you can create another virtual network, right? Similarly, you can run your website in one of your virtual machine. Just like you can host your website in your laptop, you can host this website on your cloud virtual machine also. We will see how that is done. We will understand this in a little bit more detail, right? Uh, Similarly, if you say, hey, not only I want to host it here, I want to actually make it publicly available. So you can buy something called a public IP. So you have to buy, just like you have to buy all these virtual machines or rent, like you have to pay some money every month. But if you first, well, like I said, in Azure or in any cloud, you'll get credit, like 30,000 credit. So you have 30,000 bucks to spend for free, right? So for many months, you can actually run all of these for free. So then you can buy a public IP, and you can, using your free credits actually, right? For the first year at least. After that, you have to pay. So then you can, once you attach this public IP to your this website, others can access your website from outside through public IP. So your website is going to be publicly available. I will show today in the example, we will actually see. I will host a website, all of you can actually access that website in cloud, right? So these are some basic things that you can do, right? So creating a virtual machine is called compute. This is a compute resource. So similarly, just like virtual machine, you might have heard about something called as Docker. So virtual machine, right? It can be Windows machine, it can be Linux machine, right? Red Hat, Debian, etc., right? Fedora. Similarly, you can create a Docker container, right? If you know about Docker container, then you can also create a Docker container. If you don't know, never mind, not a problem. Okay, so we discussed a little bit, and I am sure many of you might have many questions at this point of time. What is virtual machine? What is Docker? What is virtual network? What is public IP, right? So let's go into the actual cloud portal and have a look. How does it really look like? Hopefully, it will clarify some of your questions. Let's see. Okay. So now see. So this is what Azure looks like. Azure portal, right? Do you see? So some of the popular ones he's saying. Windows Server Data Center. This is a, if you create Windows Server Data Center, it will basically create a virtual machine which will be running Windows Server. Similarly, Ubuntu Server, again a virtual machine. Web app. Web app is, you are not creating your virtual machine. You are hosting a web app directly in Azure. Now this, the virtual machine concept is called IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service. Web app itself, you are not provisioning any machine. You are saying, yeah, I don't care about machine. I don't want machine. Simply take my website and host it in Azure. That is called PaaS, Platform as a Service. Like I want to use Azure as a platform. I don't want any machine. I don't want to deal with 8 GB or 16 GB, 22 GB. I don't want to bother myself with that. You simply take my website and host it in Azure. That is called a web app. We will see. In fact, we will host a web app today. Similarly, a storage solution, SQL database. I hope all of you know what a SQL database is. So you can create a virtual SQL database. Otherwise, what you have to go and buy Oracle's SQL database or Postgres or somebody's SQL database, right? But here you can host. Here also you have to buy, but you can host your own virtual SQL database, right? By paying some money. We will actually go through that a little bit also. Similarly, Kubernetes is a container management service. Similarly, Azure Cosmos DB is a NoSQL database. We will have another session on it. So today we'll not go into what a NoSQL database is, but this is again a storage solution, again a sort of database solution, right? DevOps is basically tools, right? So if you see now, these are some popular ones. Now, if I go to compute, I'm going into compute, right? See, in compute, reserved VM instances, web app for containers, function app. So function app is something called serverless. So what is serverless? We will discuss in next session, right? But today we'll not go into that. Again, batch service. Batch is running jobs, right? Again, we'll not go into details of that. So these are all just, you can imagine, these are different kinds of CPUs that you can buy or rent from Azure. Different kinds of CPUs, right? Similarly, let's go to databases, right? So see, these are different types of databases that you can rent from Azure. SQL database, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure database for MariaDB, Azure database for MySQL. So MySQL is also there. Postgres is also there, right? If you don't know Postgres, MySQL doesn't matter. These are simply some SQL servers. That's it. Azure Cosmos DB is no SQL server. If you don't know what that is, no matter. Azure Cache, again, a Redis cache. If you don't know what a Redis cache is, doesn't matter, right? So these are all different storage services, storage solutions that you can go, right? Let's just to get a feeling, let's try to create one of them. Let's see how much money he's asking from us. I'm clicking on SQL database. Okay, similarly, if you go to AWS, right? So there will be a bunch of services. See, these are all compute services. EC2, Lambda. Lambda is just like functions in Azure. In AWS, it is Lambda. Batch was also there. Batch is also here. Elastic Beanstalk was web app in Azure. EC2 is VM, virtual machine in Azure, right? Serverless is basically functions. So serverless is application repository, right? Similarly, storage is S3, just like Azure storage. AWS backup, there is EFS, right? File system, that is enterprise file service or file system. So these are examples of databases. Like DynamoDB is just like Cosmos DB in Azure. We saw Cosmos DB, right? Similarly, there is DynamoDB, which is NoSQL. Similarly, there is Elastic Cache, Amazon Redshift, right? So there are different storage solutions. Some examples of storage solutions. So I hope, and I know that this is all very, very new. DB here is database, right, Abhishek? That's correct. So I know many of these terminologies, many of these solutions are new to you. You probably don't even know what is SQL, what is NoSQL. SQL, I hope all of you understand. But many of you might not know what a NoSQL is. Many of you might not know what is this function, serverless, Lambda he's talking about, right? That's fine. So the idea, so what you should take back from today's session is to understand what kind of solutions are available in cloud. Okay, so we'll take a pause here, right? And before we take a pause, before we take questions, so this is how you can create a solution, right? So you can simply review and create. It will create a database for me. Okay, so it will cost me some money because my account is a paid account. It's not a free account. So I can uh, if I just review, right? See, it's saying cost here 18,000 uh, per month. It is going to cost me 18,000 rupees per month. Do you see? Right? Anyway, right? So let's go back. So apart from compute, apart from storage, I want to showcase some other types of IoT. There are IoT solutions also, right? Similarly, there are networking we saw, security are also there, right? This is firewall, Azure load balancer. Similarly, uh, wide area firewall, I guess, uh, right? So something like that. This is again a firewall, right? So these are some security solutions. Similarly, storage is there, web is there, web app would be there, mobile app might be there, CDN is cloud, a content delivery network, right? So if you don't understand, that's fine. So different types of solutions are there, right? Containers is there, blockchain solutions are also there, lots of blockchain solutions, AI and machine learning solutions are there. You can quickly use, right? Machine learning, right? So lots of different types of solutions are there that you can actually go and explore and use to host your solutions in cloud, right? So this, hopefully all of us today got an idea as to what kind of solutions are there in the cloud. Now, let's pause for a while. I want to hear back from you. Any questions, any thoughts? Feel free to jot that down in the chat box, please. Any questions, thoughts on what we are looking at the screen here? Ashwin is asking, what is machine learning? It's a good question, Ashwin, but it's a very big answer. So machine learning is a branch of computer science where you can teach something to machine, right, or to a computer. You can tell some logic, and that it will run that logic to learn something automatically, right? Like if you have a shopping website, you want to do some sort of classification on the customers that come in or the selections of the customers, right? If customers are from India, then what their preferences are, what their kinds of tastes are. So you can do a bunch of such things using machine learning, and there are lots of other applications as well. Abhishek is asking why we cannot host our website on our laptop, which can be accessed by everyone. Abhishek, you cannot because your laptop does not have a public IP. Your laptop does not have a public IP. And what that means is a little difficult concept. So you need to understand something called NAT, Network Address Translation, right? So if you do ipconfig, ipconfig in your laptop, you will see your IP address. But if you Google what is my IP address, you will see a different IP address. Because let's say in your network, there are 100 laptops. All of them are actually not having actual different IP addresses. All of them are actually reusing IP addresses. And the reuse of IP address is done by something called a NAT server, NAT server, Network Address Translation Server. So it's a little bit of a networking concept that you need to understand that concept. But basically, to answer your question, Abhishek, your laptop does not have a public IP address. That's why you cannot host your website. That's one. Plus, also, if you host your website on your laptop, you have to keep your laptop always on. One, and as you will get your requests, like people will come to your website, right? So your lots of requests will come to your website, and if your laptop actually might crash also, right? So hosting your website in your laptop is not a good idea. By the way, in your internal network, like if you have a hostel where there is a LAN, you can definitely host your website in your laptop also. No problem there. Though, like I said, others can crash your laptop, right? Satyaprakash is saying, what is data science? Satyaprakash, data science is again a very parallel branch to machine learning. We will not go there today because today's topic is cloud, but maybe there is in fact in MFL Edu Club's uh, YouTube channel, right? There is a very good session by Nirav on the difference between data science and AI and machine learning. So you can go watch that. That will give you a very good idea of what data science is. I hope that answers your question to some extent. Kostav is asking, uh, suppose if I run a virtual machine on my personal computer and want to access the RAM from my friend PC so that it allocates virtual machine which is run on my PC, can it be possible? Okay, interesting question. I don't know. I don't think it is possible. Kostav, no. As much as I know, that's not possible because accessing RAM is done by kernel, by your operating system, right? So that you cannot do. But if you want to create a network of multiple machines, your machine, your friend's machine, your friend's machine, and you want to create a network of virtual machines, 3 virtual machines hosted in your machine, 3 virtual machines hosted in your friend's machine, you can do that. There is a solution called System Center Virtual Machine Manager, SCVMM, by Microsoft. But it is a paid solution, but you can do that by using that solution. I hope that answers your question to some extent. Kartikeya, welcome. I guess you were late today. That's why you missed the introduction part. So Kartikeya is asking, what can I benefit from cloud as I am doing a specialization in artificial intelligence? Kartikeya will actually do a demo right after this, right? Where you will see I will host my own website in the cloud, right? So you can definitely host your website in cloud, and because you are completely writing your own website, you can do anything there. You can have your own database, right? Where you can, anybody who registers in your website, you can store in your database, or you can host some chat functionality. You can, because this is your website, as opposed to you creating a page on WordPress. In WordPress, you will have your own page, no problem, but you don't have access to the server, the logic. You don't have access to the database. You don't have access to any of that, right? But in own website, you have access to all of that. So you can have any functionality that you want, any UI that you want, any server functionality, any database, any application, right? You can do a lot of more things with cloud. Kartikeya, I hope that answers to some extent. So Kartikeya is asking a follow-up question. Are you saying that we can also create a chat box from it? Definitely. Web app is, so we will host a web app. You can have a web app just like that, which can be a chat box, and not just web app, right? Uh, if you go to here, right, compute, see here it's not showing. If I go to see all, so there may be lots of services. I hope my screen is visible. So I'll simply say mobile. See, lot of, you'll all find a lot of solutions just for mobile content management acceleration, right? You can go explore. So this is not just hosted by Azure, by the way. A lot of third-party solutions are also hosting these kind of solutions where you can, like app, right? See, lot of app, different types of app solution. Web app I will show you today, but then there are API app, logic app, fractal app, right? Lots of app solutions are also there. I'm doing a general search here just with app. So you'll see a lot of solutions are there, right? So you can definitely host your app in cloud. In fact, a lot of these cloud solutions, a lot of these mobile apps are actually hosted in cloud only. Right? Lots of apps. See, so many, load more. So there are lots of solutions just for uh, building apps. Okay. Any more questions before we go to the demo? Otherwise, we can go straight away to the demo. Okay, guys, let's go to the demo. And after that, if you have any more questions, we'll definitely answer the questions. Let's go to my Visual Studio, right? Remember, I had created a test app in our last session, right? If you can see. So this is nothing but a test app. So we talked about MVC, model, views, and controllers, right? MVC. What MVC means? What is a web app? If you are not present in the last session, feel free to go and take a look at the recording of the last to last session, actually, right? Last to last session. So here, what I have done is, this is a normal web app that is pretty much generated by Visual Studio. I have pretty much not even written it, right? So this app, I can simply, if you see my screen, right, I can simply say build, and see, if I just rebuild, build all, let's say, let me change something, maybe, okay, I'll build all. So it will build my app now. In fact, you know what? Actually, this app, right, I have already published in Azure. So I will, let me go to my Azure account. Going back to my Azure account, I will show that app to you. You guys can access that app. Then I can change a little bit in that app so that uh, so that we will see the change taking place, right? So I'm going back to my Azure account here. So I'll say web, let's go to web apps. So see, this is Pramit test web app, the same app, right, which is already hosted. So I'll go into this. So here I'll get the URL of this app. So the details of this app, right? If you don't understand, that's fine. You don't, I don't expect you to. So I'm copying this URL. This is Pramit test web app.azurewebsite.net. I am copying it here in the chat box. Okay. I'm not sure why is the chat box not going. Let me close the chat box and open it again to be able to chat. Okay, so I have pasted that URL in the chat box. If you guys click right, you will actually go to that website. So this website is actually publicly hosted. Just like this, you can also easily, so see what I have done here. So this is a very small website. Welcome to Pramit's homepage. Pramit loves to teach, code, read, and have fun with family, right? So random, something random, but just like this, you can actually host your own website. So you can, any of you go to the website and confirm in the chat box that you are able to access this website. Once you confirm, we'll go back to the code for this. We will change this, right? And then we will, awesome. So Satyaprakash, Kaustubh, Ashwin, thank you for confirming, right? Kartikeya, thank you. So let's go back to our Visual Studio. Okay, so you will see how easy, how pathetically easy it is to host your website. So this is, see, I am inside views. Views is basically nothing. If you had attended last to last session, there was nothing but HTML, simple HTML, right? So I am coming here. So this is what we were seeing, right? The title was Pramit's homepage. This was the content. So let's change it. This is, let's pick one of your name. Let's say Kartikeya. This is Kartikeya's homepage. Kartikeya loves to, I'll say K loves to have fun. So this is, I did the change. I'll build this website. It will take a minute to build. Let it build. Okay, build successful. So let's see, publish to Azure. I have connected my Visual Studio to my Azure account. I'll simply select my app and I'll say publish. That's it. Okay, could not do something. Let's see. Let's try to do that again. Why couldn't it? Could not retrieve publish profile for service Pramit test web app 1. Okay, why would that be? Anyways, no matter. Let's do one more thing. Let's actually publish to a new service, right? Why do we even want to make it Pramit? Let's make it Kartikeya. Kartikeya's. So these are paid, right? But for first year, it will be free, absolutely, for you guys. But by the way, this is paid. So Kartikeya, you owe me. Okay, so looks like, see, it's not showing me any resource group. That means what has happened here is that my Azure connection is lost. Okay, I get it. So connection to my Azure account is lost. So in the next few minutes, let's try to retrieve that. What can I do? Maybe let me close Visual Studio and restart. Yeah, that's what I'll do. In the meanwhile, let me share something else so that I'm closing my Visual Studio here. Bear with me. So I have closed it and I will open it now. Let's see. Okay, I have opened it. I'll share it again with you guys. Awesome. So this is shared. Now let's see if publish to Azure works. Okay, so looks like there is some issue with. Does this work? Let's see. Okay, looks like that worked. So here, right, there was another option to publish directly to that web app. Looks like that worked for whatever reason. So if this is successful, then we should be able to see that website with the, so it's still publishing to Azure. Still publishing, okay. Okay, awesome. So if you can see my screen now, so it is updated, right? So it is saying this is Kartikeya's homepage. Kartikeya loves to have fun, right? So this is as simple as it is. So guys, how many of you are going to try and host your own website in Azure for free? Say yes or raise your hand in the chat. Say yes in the chat box or raise your hand. Okay. Sankalp, thank you. Satya Prakash, Abhishek, Vastav, Ashwin. Great, right? So it's very like absurdly easy to host. Sharun, thank you. Gansham, thank you. Right. So definitely encourage all of you to do that. And this is, you know, what we did here is called a web app. And what that means, that basically means this. That is what is called platform as a service. Right. If I go back to my Visual Studio, let's go back to my Visual Studio. So you will, now you understand what is basically a web app, right? So this, I created a web app in Visual Studio. Simply you go to Visual Studio, say new solution, right? and you simply say web application, and next, that's it. Next, no authentication, next, and if you just name something and create, it will create a new web app. That's it. And this web app that is created, you can connect your account to your Azure account. First, you have to create an Azure account, connect that Azure account, and then that published option will be available to you. You can simply do publish, and whatever the sample web app is there, it will be published to your Azure account. It is that simple. So see what you created. Did you create any virtual machine here? No. Did you create any container here? No. Are you managing any container, Kubernetes, etc.? No. Are you creating any database? No. You are not doing anything. You are simply hosting your own website that you have created simply using Visual Studio. And that is what is called a web app. And that is an example of PaaS, platform as a service, right? So we are not, what is infrastructure as a service? If you take a database or if you take a virtual machine, that's infrastructure. You are taking that virtual machine, you can host an IIS server or an Apache server inside that virtual machine and host your own website. You can do that also, right? But there you have to manage the machine. You have to manage the machine. But here I don't have to manage any virtual machine or any virtual network or any virtual storage. Here I simply am creating a web app and I can host that web app as it is in Azure. That is called platform as a service. Okay, guys, so I'll stop here. I know too much information for you guys, right? Too much information. I can completely understand, but I hope you guys got a view of what is a cloud solution, what different types of cloud solutions are there, what are the different examples of cloud solutions, computing, networking, storage, AI, ML, IoT, big data, right? Lots of different types of solutions we got to see today, right? So I'll stop there, and we are done for today's session. But if you have any question for the next few minutes, we can surely take. So this is Google Cloud Platform, right? So if I go back, see there are also compute engine, app engine, right? Then there is Kubernetes engine, which is basically container, right? Then there is cloud functions. Functions is nothing but that serverless thing that I talked. In Azure, it was called Azure Functions. In AWS, it was called Lambda. Similarly, Cloud Run, VMware Engine, Big Data, right? Firestore, Filestone Storage, SQL. So similar services, right? Networking, VPC network. This is nothing but virtual network, right? Network services, hybrid connectivity, monitoring services, cloud tools, right? So a lot of can be published directly in AWS too. Definitely. Akhil, so publishing .NET in Azure is in AWS is slightly tricky, but you can definitely publish very easily to AWS too. That's also not difficult. But then there are different types of publishing also. By the way, it's not. This is not the only way to publish, right? But there are different types of. There are pipelines, right? Here in deployment management. Do you see my screen? Something called deployment management in GCP. So typically, big companies will go this way because they don't want to publish in one click. Because accidentally, if you publish something random, your website is screwed, right? So they will typically go through like proper deployment mechanisms like this, deployment management, right? Okay. But there are ways to directly publish also. Okay. Okay. Karthik is saying, can we also design our website? I mean, logo and all. No, no, no. You can completely. So I hosted my. If I go to back to my web app, right? This is just a sample web app, Karthik. You can in this same HTML file, you can completely design. You can have 100 HTML files in your project. It is just a sample project that I published. In your project, you can have anything at all, like anything, right? Make sense? Okay. Okay. Sankalp is asking, can you suggest some books for studying networking from basic to advanced? Uh, uh, Networking from basic to advanced. Uh, I think standard networking books, Tannenbaum or Comer. I think there is a book, right? Comer or Tannenbaum. Those are pretty good enough. But unfortunately, right, those books are like 20 years old books. So they don't talk at all about cloud or virtual networking, unfortunately. So for that, you have to actually study like some new source, like either Udemy or something, but new source. Those books will not talk about cloud or virtual networking. Okay. Any other question before we pack up? Abhishek is asking, can you explain how IIT LAN works by which you use internet? Exactly. So IIT has a, or any LAN, any college has a local network, right? Where lots of computers are connected, right? So if I go to my board here, right? See, so in IIT, or for that matter, I know IIT guys love their BC++. So let's say there are a lot of your machines, your friends' machines, lots of machines, right? So they are, let's say, connected to your every hostel. Remember, in a hostel, there would be a router room, right? So they will be connected to that router. Let's say this is hostel 1 router. Similarly, hostel 2 will have a router, right? Similarly, hostel 3 or departments will have their own routers, and then they will be connecting to some main router, one or more main router, right? And they will be connected to outside routers like ISPs, internet service providers, Jio or Airtel or Vodafone or whatever, their routers. So that is how this is your whole LAN, local area network. And this whole big net, outside world, the internet is called WAN, wide area network. Okay. Ashwin is asking, you hosted a static site, right? Yes, that is static. For hosting dynamic websites, you can Ashwin, you can also use the same web app for dynamic sites also. All you need to do is host in your controllers. Like if you had attended last to last session, we can write more and more Ajax controllers. You can add your Ajax controllers to your web app only, and your web app will become a dynamic web app. Then from your site, you can make Ajax calls to your web app, like we discussed in last to last session, and you can respond to your responses just like we had discussed last time, right? Kartika is saying, someone suggested me a book for data structures by Shom's Outline. Aware of this book? Maybe suggest some good one. Data structures are, Corman is the best. Corman is very good. Then there is also a book called this guy, right? The three-part book. Who remembers there? I'm forgetting. No, I'm forgetting. I'm totally forgetting. Yeah. But Corman is the best, anyways. You can say me what multi-user Mimo. I have no clue, Sankalp. Sorry. I know mime type. I don't know what is Mimo. Sorry. But you can always do a Google search about your patent. Sure, Ashwin, my patent is around something around DHCP server. So in DHCP server, we used to, so any DHCP server, right? It uh, typically IPv6 server. So there are two ways IPv6 addresses are given. If I go to if your network do ipconfig, you will see some IPv4 address, you will see some IPv6 address. Now there are two ways IPv6 addresses are given. One is DHCP v6 server, another is something called router advertisement. So we did a invention where router advertisement addresses are also stored inside of DHCP server, so that all the addresses will be visible in one place. That was the innovation that we had done. I don't know whether you understood any of that, but no matter. So anyways, guys, I think good session today. Thank you for attending. And let's meet next time as well. In the meanwhile, if you have any question and any advice that you want from me, feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Something about DHCP Sankalp, not for today, maybe some other time, but sure, definitely about DHCP. Dynamic Host Control Protocol. That is what it is, gives your machine IP addresses and a few other things. Okay. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Good night. Have a good weekend. I know it's pretty late. Bye-bye then. Chalo. See you.
Thank you very much,
Have
sir.
a good one. Bye.
Thank you very much. Guys, I have, like as sir has also told, we are coming up with a mentorship opportunity which will be free of cost, in which you can deliver your ideas regarding the same. So the link is open till 31st of August. So I have shared the link in the chat box as well. I'll share it in the group as well. You will also receive a mail regarding the same. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Like, I will be closing the session in 3 minutes. If you guys have question related to anything apart from the techies, then you can ask me. Like, I can help you regarding the non-tech part, especially in the business development and financial management and all.